When you have the kind of wealth that Lil Wayne does, you have a moral obligation to spend that cash on the most decadent things imaginable. No worries though, because he nailed it. All of Lil Wayne's success has led to a shockingly high net worth of $170 million, which he has put to work on some truly amazing homes. His most recent home purchase shows that he hasn't lost a beat when it comes to his sense of style. He picked up a huge place in Los Angeles in 2021 for a small fortune. Even for him, this price probably made him have to think twice before he went for it. That's because it costs $15.4 million. This Hidden Hills home is striking as you drive up to it. It is a farmhouse-inspired home that looks large enough for horses to go through the front door. That over-the-top design goes inside as well. Each and every room of this place is enormous. It's got high ceilings, big bold windows, wide open spaces, and puffed up comfy furniture. The living spaces are beautiful with fireplaces, huge TVs, and seating areas everywhere. It's like this home was designed for house parties. The style continues into the home movie theater, which has enough seating to take in at least 20 people. When he was a kid, apparently his favorite movie was Gremlins, so you know he's watched it once on that bad boy. If that didn't sell you on the house party style of this place enough, the home also has a great space for barbecues. Out back, it has a full outdoor kitchen, a barbecue center, and plenty of outdoor seating. Then you can take your food over to the Negative Edge swimming pool, the sports court, or the spa. Just imagine partying with the likes of Lil Wayne and his friends, then you'll wake up to the soft natural light of this gorgeous home. It sounds almost worth the headache. Aside from the home's over-the-top features, let's look at the basics. There are 5 bedrooms, a private gym, and a small guest house, all of which have the same subdued color scheme. I gotta say, this home is undeniably gorgeous and has likely seen some of the greatest ragers ever thrown. But is it truly worth that $15.4 million price? Well, you aren't just paying for the home, but for the neighborhood. There are several high-profile celebrities who have lived there over the years, including Drake, The Weeknd, Dwayne Wade, Jessica Simpson, and several of the Kardashians. So yeah, there's no way a home in that neighborhood would be priced under 10 mil. Back in 2013, Lil Wayne bought a home in the party capital of Florida, Miami. He purchased this guard-gated Allison Island home, which overlooks Biscayne Bay, for an impressive $16.8 million. That's even more expensive than his LA place, though that's not what he flipped it for either. A lot about this house is similar to his LA pad. That includes the incredibly high ceilings, the wide open spaces, and the expansive windows. It even has several of the same amenities, including the pool, the private movie theater, and that one-of-a-kind view. Though this home also has a few special touches the next home didn't feature. That includes a private elevator reportedly built for Lil Wayne himself. The place even has a dock right off of the ocean. Even the butler got his own private quarters in this place. I don't know about you, but I would pay hundreds to read that man's book about what went down in this house. You'll remember that he bought this place for just shy of $17 million. When he put it back on the market just 4 years later, he did so with a much higher asking price. That would be $29.5 million. Evidently being able to say this home was previously owned by legendary rapper Lil Wayne was worth over $12 million bucks. I gotta be honest, I almost hate Lil Wayne for just how amazing his car collection is. Seriously, take a moment and prepare yourself, because he has not messed around when it comes to picking out rides. He's got several of the highest profile luxury rides out there today. That includes the likes of his $24,000 Porsche Boxster, his $86,995 Cadillac CTS, and his $317,000 McLaren 720S Spider. As impressive as all those are, he also has several next level rides, such as his Rolls-Royce Phantom Drophead, which ran him a substantial $562,000. While he loves to sample different brands, there's one that appears to be his favorite, Mercedes. Lil Wayne has purchased two over the years. First, we've got his Mercedes SLS AMG. This beauty can hit 198 miles per hour easy and can go for upwards of $228,000. Then we've got one of the most impressive rides of his collection. That's his Mercedes Maybach 62, which is far from his fastest car with a top speed of only 155, but it still runs $428,000. As impressive as all that is too, it doesn't even compare with his greatest car. If you follow this channel, you might be able to guess it. This baby is one of my all-time favorites and is the cherry on top of several high-profile car collections. That would be the beautiful, elegant, unforgettable Bugatti Veyron worth $1.9 million. Yeah, I'd take this car over all of the Grammys he's ever won. If there's one thing that he's arguably more passionate about than luxury cars, it's luxury jewelry. Lil Wayne loves diamonds and he's willing to shell out big bucks for them. Look at these beauties, including his Young Money necklace, his Sita necklace named for his mother, a diamond lighter, and a diamond grill, all worth tens of thousands of dollars. What might be his biggest flex are actually his headphones. Not many people really deck out their headphones, let alone cover them in diamonds. Lil Wayne really went the extra mile for his Beats by Dr. Dre, and he was willing to shell out the big bucks. These headphones actually cost more than most of his cars. That's because they're worth $1 million. When it comes to how Lil Wayne drops his money, there's one thing that stands out immediately. He has a ton of tattoos. This can be pretty standard for many celebrities, but few have their faces utterly covered. His face features tats like a flower in his ear, Misunderstood across his temple, Young Money on his neck, and even Mama's Boy written in Arabic script. He's even got tattoos that pretty much no one would ever see. That includes one in his lower lip that's just a little smiley face. So who exactly does a big time celebrity like him go to for his ink, and how much does it cost? Well, there's one artist he's probably gone to see more than anyone else. Miami artist Dow Hokoana has tattooed over 300 on Lil Wayne. Specifically, she completed what is known as his bodysuit, or his full body tattoo. He didn't have any tats from his waist to his knees, and needed a very professional artist to get that job done. As far as costs go, getting a full bodysuit can be quite the investment. On the low side, you can spend $40,000 to $50,000 to get this done, though you can probably spend a lot less if you don't care if it looks good. For someone like Lil Wayne, who obviously takes great pride in his ink, we're looking at over $100,000. That is quite the investment. Lil Wayne doesn't just have pride in the art that's on his body though, he's also got a huge collection of conventional artwork. It is ridiculous just how much he spent on them too. Seriously, he has a collection that's valued at $30 million. Unfortunately, the reason we know about it is because quite a bit of it has been seized. His Miami home was actually raided to settle a $2 million debt that he owed. They do say that no press is bad press, am I right? Lil Wayne is also well known for taking trips on private planes, but he doesn't always have the best time. He's been seen flying around on a Gulfstream G5. This is a true luxury flight that's worth well over $13.5 million. Riding these private jets can ring up quite the bill too. Remember that $2 million debt Lil Wayne owed? Yeah, that was to a private jet company. At least the experience was worth it, right? So how exactly did Lil Wayne acquire this fortune? Lil Wayne had it way back in 1995 when he was signed on as the youngest artist to Cash Money Records. Since then, he has released a total of 13 albums. He has become one of the most successful American musical artists ever, selling a total of 120 million records worldwide, including more than 200 million albums and 70 million digital tracks. If that wasn't enough, he's also taken home 5 Grammys.
Rick Ross's front gate's a 30-minute walk from his pavilion. Here's how William Leonard Roberts II spends his millions. Mr. 305 actually hangs most of his fitted hats in the 404 in a $5.8 million 254-acre mansion in Fayetteville, Atlanta he bought at a foreclosure auction. It took the Clarksdale, Mississippi-born Ross 3 days to walk through the whole property and take it all in when he first moved there. For most people, it seems impossible to have a dining room that seats 100. But in the words of Ross himself, excess is just my character. The black gates that greet you with the gold RR initials have to have cost at least $8,500, but make a priceless statement. You're entering Ricky's world. He has full-time armed security officers at the gate, so you best have an appointment. An armed guard in Georgia makes an average of $33,329 a year. Ross may have got some of his former colleagues from the South Florida Corrections Center where he worked at in the 90s for 18 months beardlessly as a corrections officer. He went from making the equivalent of $32,035 a year back then to an estimated $7.02 million a year now, making these champagne dream over-the-top purchases a reality. Back to his mansion. Inside are breathtaking statues, a Sistine Chapel-esque cupola, an arcade, and a game room filled with a Richie Rich level of toys. Just before you enter, you walk by a car museum that rivals Jay Leno's. More on that later. The estate was used as the Zamunda Palace in the Eddie Murphy sequel Coming to America, serving as an African palace. Ross secures around $2.5 million to let producers use the estate as a filming location. Gotta have a lot of cash handy to pay to keep the pH balance in that 350,000-gallon pool you could hold Olympic events in optimal. And that $17,000 a month electricity bill ain't gonna pay itself. He's invested in some racehorses, which Derby horse trainers offered to buy from him for over $100,000 each. They wanted to train them in the pool. Not sure for what, but okay. The 54,000 square foot mansion once belonged to former heavyweight boxing champ Evander Holyfield, who bought it for $20 million in cash. A home Ross admits he coveted as he drove by it for years. It was rumored that Evander paid over $1 million to keep the lights on and cut the grass. One of the reasons he couldn't afford to hold on to it. This shocked Rick Ross into cutting his own grass, a feat that took him 5 hours long on his $66,599 John Deere 5090E Series tractor, with the $5,000 124-inch RB24 blade extended attachment on the back that cuts even wider. With gas prices averaging a whopping $4.292 in the state of Georgia due to the Russian-Ukraine war, you have to save where you can. Evander, a man who beat Mike Tyson in his prime twice, sadly lost most of his $513 million wealth he made in the boxing realm, and now only has a net worth of $1 million. The real deal Holyfield's inspirational yet cautionary tale propels Ross to pursue other money-saving avenues. For example, he doesn't have a big $39 million Gulfstream G550 luxury private jet like fellow rapper Jay-Z does. He tries his best to fly Delta. A $1,300 first-class trip from Miami to LAX is much more reasonable than the $8,945 operating cost a G550 would run you. The yacht club rapper actually doesn't have a yacht per se, but rides around the port of Miami in his custom $94,000 Seahawk racing boat called Bel Air. According to the man himself, Rick also loves swap meets and antique stores, often finding himself buying beautiful things that cost $8 to $20. He also famously cut down 10 trees on the yard he calls the Promised Land, saving himself the $10,000 the contractors quoted him. He did himself a little favor as he ended up finding real marble on his property. Good for him. He spent $3.4 million in cash for a 2.3-acre resort-style estate in Southwest Ranches, Florida, a suburban community 22 miles northwest of Miami. It used to be owned by NBA All-Star Amari Stoudemire. The 8,600-square-foot home has 6 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, 2 home offices, a gym I'm pretty sure he doesn't use, an indoor theater, and a stunning pool and outdoor space. In total, Rick claims to have 7 homes, one being a $1 million Atlanta home just around the corner from where he lives now that he says he bought just for the pleasure of riding by it every day, knowing that it's all his. That's pretty bossy. Why does Rick Ross, whose real name is William Leonard Roberts II, own so much real estate? When he made his first million, he went to his mother Tommy Roberts for advice on investing in the stock market. She said, "Son, I don't really rock with the stock market. I don't know much about it, but I know about real estate. So when you buy something, make sure you can touch it." Well played, mama. A strip club ain't a place to get love, but it is a place to BMF. Blow money fast. Rick Ross famously reportedly spent $1 million in Miami strip club King of Diamonds. Tables at the adult entertainment venue ranged from $300 to $2,500, and the average bill price for a night out there was $140. So he and his crew had to get a little creative to spend that much. His 35th birthday included a $50,000 money rain on two of his favorite exotic dancers, Siobhan aka Spider and Talisha aka Magic. King of Diamonds talent manager Disco Rick Taylor confirmed in detail that the club's corporate offices had to bring a Brinks truck in to supply more cash. The club commemorated the celebration with a King of Diamonds certified plaque that boldly knights him the King of the King of Diamonds. When you have your own plaque from a strip club, you may have what an accountant might call a little bit of a spending problem. Although the party probably left a major financial hangover, it was a much bigger success than his 37th birthday, which ended with Rick Ross being shot at in his $500,000 anthracite-colored Rolls-Royce in Fort Lauderdale in 2013. He was shot at on Northeast 15th Avenue and Las Olas Boulevard, where he crashed into a house, presumably while fleeing for his life. His body had no bullet wounds, but the bespoke car was pretty banged up. Too bad he wasn't riding in his fully bulletproof $75,300 Chevy Suburban. Bulletproofing a car costs $10,000, by the way. Due to IRS concerns, Rick Ross refused to confirm the exact amount of money he spent that night. Unfortunately for the Gentlemen's Club, it closed its doors permanently in 2019 after being sued for foreclosure for defaulting on payments for its $5.3 million mortgage. They should have saved some of that Ricky money. Confessions of a Shopaholic was about people like Rick. He spent $600,000 in a day on a car and jewelry. He celebrated the demise of his enemies with a Rolls-Royce drop-head coupe with a chrome hood and cream seats from Eurostable in Miami. He then went on to buy 10 Maybach Music Group pendants and a 230-carat solid black diamond chain from the King of Bling, jeweler Johnny Dang. Just a special thread running between wall black diamonds. To go with it is a 73-carat solid black diamond rock with 90 carats of white diamonds encrusted in the pendant. After his spree, where he had $50,000 in cash in his pocket and had his private banker wire him the rest, Ross kindly warned viewers not to try this at home, as you might mess up your re-up overspending. Not every artist makes $50,000 to $100,000 a show like he does. From his man Gino at Eurostable, he had already bought a $417,402 Maybach 57S, which he said started it all. We're assuming he means his addiction to collecting cars. He bought a royal blue $386,500 Aston Martin Vanquish S, inspiration for his Aston Martin music, a what he calls mafia black $500,000 Rolls-Royce Phantom he calls Big Papa after the notorious B.I.G., a $179,000 Bentley Continental GT, a $573,966 Lamborghini Aventador, and a black $107,900 Porsche 911 Turbo. In plain view on Ross's ATL property, he keeps his favorite Fab 5 go-to vehicles ready to go. A convertible $119,900 Mercedes-Benz S-Class Coupe, a candy apple red $20,000 1960 drop-top Chevy Impala, a $500,000 GSE custom job 1973 cherry bomb-colored Chevy Caprice, featured in his music video for the Don't Like remix. That car has an LS1 engine, air ride suspension, Bayer brakes, 4L65E push-button transmission, Porsche red leather interior, 15-inch kicker subwoofers, and sits on 26-inch GSE Customs thruster wheels. Inside the garage, he has a black $15,000 1964 Chevy C10 with a bolted-in cooler in the back filled with champagne to simulate the Maybach experience. A Chevy Impala with a custom Gucci top and 100-spoke gold rims he calls Lemon Pepper is always out front, ready to go, as is his 1973 Impala. He calls that one Peanut, after one of his Chevy-loving Miami childhood friends, Raymond Adderley Jr., who was murdered in a deadly home invasion in 2010, making it a sentimental tombstone rolling on red and chrome GSE custom rims. He has an aggressive-looking black 4x4 $41,760 Ford F-350 pickup he calls Big Buford, after the big cheeseburger at Checkers. On the upper end, he has a matte black $343,000 Rolls-Royce Wraith he calls Rihanna, with that classy, starry interior. Strangely, he just got his driver's license. For the Miami Carroll City Senior High School graduate, the cool middle schoolers would drive to school, and they were obviously too young to have licenses. So to him, driving without a license is business as usual. He claims to have over 100 cars. How can he afford so many if he's only worth $40 million? He flips a lot of whips. He'll buy a car for $20,000 or $30,000, drive it a little, and sell it 3 years later for $130,000 or $140,000. The name he's built up in the luxury lifestyle market trumps up the value of his possessions real nice. He had a fleet of Chevy Bel Airs, his favorite cars. Quite a few of them were sold at a profit. He's even had the front end of a Bel Air sawed off and made into a table for his office. Rick has a great many motorcycles, his most valuable being his black with gold trim $1 million Powerhouse custom cycle, which is packed with speakers and even has a digital display showing what music is playing. Rick's invested $1 million to sign on as an equity partner, advisor, and spokesperson for Florida-based startup JetDoc, a telehealth company. Ricky Renzel has also partnered with Cookies, an international cannabis brand, to launch 3 specially curated pot strains. He was at the grand opening of their Las Vegas store. He's worked with luxury car designer Richard B. Caliente and producer duo Cool and Dre to turn a Porsche 911 into a unique piece of car art. Ross owns over 30 Wingstop locations, and his namesake has added tremendous value to the brand. He constantly, shamelessly promotes it, hypnotizing his listeners by saying lemon pepper over and over again, making the Wingstop brand culturally relevant and generating some delicious passive income for himself. Life after hip-hop should be very lucrative for the rap superstar. He wrote a book called The Perfect Day to Boss Up, a business strategy how-to manual for some more income. The $23.49 book that debuted at number 5 on the New York Times weekly bestsellers list includes tips for managing and investing your money, how to make it in the music industry, how to turn a passion project into a business, and how to build the perfect team. At the heart of all business is sales, and Rick Ross is a consummate salesman. He is the brand ambassador for Luc Belaire sparkling wine beverages, and communicates that almost at all times. The Maybach Music Group founders sent 200 bottles, or about $10,000 worth, of Belaire to fellow spendthrift celeb Floyd Money Mayweather at his $10 million Las Vegas area mansion. There's only 2 varieties of Belaire, a rare rosé, made from a combination of 3 grapes that launched in 2011, and then a rare Brut, which was released a year or so after. Since it ain't champagne, it only costs $30 to $50 a pop, but the bottle communicates a lifestyle beyond the moderate price tag. Much like Rick Ross himself, hip-hop culture welcomed the sparkling wine in the recession, as $200 bottles of Cristal and $300 bottles of Ace of Spades champagne are pushing the boundaries of the average budget. Ross has also made lucrative collaboration deals with Ewing Athletics to sell $180 luxury sneakers, with Li Ning to sell $300 exotic sneakers, and at one time had a surprising deal with Reebok, who usually only deals with athletes. Reebok eventually pulled out of that deal, netting him a loss of earnings of an estimated $3.5 million. Superstars wear sunglasses and rosés no different. To protect his eyes from the ultra-bright dirty south sun and overwhelming camera flashes, he's been spotted wearing $120 9.5 sunglasses on the set of the shoot for his music video for If They Knew, off his 7th studio album, Hood Billionaire. The sunglasses that Rick Ross is wearing are the 9.5 tips in Black Snake Tortoise. His $281 in Rhoda I'll Be Rich Forever B sunglasses, seriously, that's what they're called, with the silver B in the middle screaming show business glamour, can be seen on his music video for Monkey Business. One of his more opulent pairs are the $1,399 Cazal 867-651 frames he wore on the cover of his Teflon Don album, which had first week sales of 176,300 copies. Those are pretty solid numbers. Rick Ross wears $1,700 Versace Baracco silk shirts, a $1,645 Versace digital Baracco denim jacket, $995 Versace belt with two-tone Medusa buckle, and $916 Versace Medusa high-top trainers. He's also been seen rocking a $4,850 Versace fur coat. We've seen the BOSS wear all kinds of wristwear, like a $21,000 Hublot D-Wade edition watch, a $600,000 Richard Mille RM 5602 Blue Sapphire to go with his Bel Air Bleu, and a unique iced-out $2 million Jacob & Co. 8-carat white gold billionaire Ashaka watch. And on top of that, another unbelievable $2 million Jacob & Co. timepiece from Jacob the Jeweler. Surely he doesn't own all of them, but Ricky has iterated that once he puts that Ricky DNA on something, that Midas touch makes it flippable at a much higher asking price. The Superfly musician has an unbelievable shoe collection spread over 3 closets. Standouts in his collection include Laker-colored Air Jordan Kobe 03s, now worth $6,000. A pair of the originals Kobe actually wore in 2002 sold for $30,400 on eBay despite notable wear and tear from gameplay. He has some $180 Travis Scott X Air Jordan Lows, the Back to the Future Nike Mags, which go for $7,000 plus on eBay, and a pair of handmade yellow Bollies from Switzerland he bought for $80 in 1994. He wears $3,899 Air Jordan 1 Off Louis sneakers made by artist Cleese, which he wore in his music video for Oh My Gosh while everyone else was barefoot. He loves his face so much he had a $50,000 chain pendant made of it. There were rumors swirling around the net that it was actually worth $1.5 million, which has now been debunked. He does get a lot of his jewelry delivered to his home in an armored truck because it's just too valuable. To commemorate that chain, he had a pendant commissioned with his face wearing his face as a chain. He's also spent $500K on an MMG spinning pendant on a half-kilo rose gold and emerald Cuban link diamond chain. Whoa! The circular pendant houses 15,000 VVS diamonds. Rick Ross also has 10 Jesus Piece chains worth $25,000 apiece. He wore the whole $250,000 collection on his cover for his album God Forgives, I Don't. Rick bought a $500 flamethrower from the Boring Company to shoot at home. In a semi-related story, Ross does not have custody of the 2 children he has with ex-girlfriend Brianna Singleton. He pays her $11,000 a month in child support. He laced his son with the ultimate Sweet 16th birthday gift. He gave William L. Roberts III his very own restaurant franchise, saying to him, "You are now officially boss." Imagine working in fast food and having a 16-year-old be your owner. Yikes. The rapper opened his first Wingstop franchise back in 2011 in Memphis, Tennessee. Each restaurant brings in an average of $200K a year in sales. Not bad. It has also been reported that Ross raked in an estimated $7 million from his Wingstop investments in 2014. He celebrated his daughter Toy Roberts' Sweet 16 at Miami's Casa Arena, the former Versace mansion. During the celebration, Rose gave his baby girl a brand new $222,000 Bentley Bentayga. As you already know, he's very generous with himself on his birthdays. This year he bought himself a $21,000 1955 Chevy Bel Air he calls Arthur Fonzarelli, after Happy Days is the Fonz. To match the car's shade of turquoise, he bought a matching watch and a pair of $850 Yves Saint Laurent sneakers to color coordinate with the American classic. Dr. Dre gave his fellow mogul a $100,000 Hublot watch for his birthday, keeping his relationship with Ricky Ross airtight. Ricky Rose's most prominent feature is his beard, which he uses $16 promenade hair grease that features champagne, caviar, and Kona coffee extracts to keep it looking tight and shiny. He bosses up his own facial hair game with his own line of hair care products called Rich. Margins are quite high on beauty products, and since his biggest marketing cost is his own likeness, he just has to promote it and let the dollars roll in.
One of the best groups in modern music is Migos, the 3-part team of Quavo, Takeoff, and Offset. Together they have made some of the best music and purchases the modern music industry has ever seen. Sadly, one member of Migos is no longer around. Takeoff lost his life in a violent altercation in November of 2022. At that time, he was worth a small fortune of $26 million, though that number likely would have climbed significantly higher over the course of what would have been a highly successful life. As far as his purchases go, first let's start with his car collection. As you'll see, all of the Migos members have highly impressive collections. Takeoff was no different. He owned a Maserati Gran Turismo worth $110,000, a Lamborghini Aventador worth $500,000, and a Mercedes G63 AMG worth $156,890. If this is where his car collection was going, something tells me a Bugatti would have joined these supercars. Not only was Takeoff supposedly the glue of the team, but he also had a soft spot for his family. He assisted Quavo with buying Quavo's mom a home, one that clearly is worth several million. It is one of the finest Christmas presents I've ever seen. If you didn't already know, Quavo is Takeoff's uncle, so this one is all in the family. Chances are that some truly extraordinary purchases would have come, but tragedy struck in Houston, and he was attacked with a deadly weapon that ended his life at the young age of 28. So far, we don't know who was behind it or why this incident occurred, though it's unlikely anyone will let this case go unsolved. Over 20,000 people gathered for a memorial service for the rapper. It included the likes of Drake, Gucci Mane, Ja Rule, Justin Bieber, Cardi B, and of course, Offset and Quavo. They joined millions of fans all over the world who are either gathering in person to honor the rapper or online to show their respects for one taken far too soon. They have gone so far as sharing baby pics of Takeoff found online and personal accounts of their love for him. One thing's for sure, he will not be easily forgotten. As far as Offset goes, he's earned a sizable amount of money for his share of the profits from the Migos collaboration, $26 million from their sales. As far as the cars he was able to pick up during his time with Migos, he matches up with the other two members easily. That includes his Lamborghini Urus worth $222,000, his Mercedes Maybach S600 worth $78,093, his Rolls-Royce Wraith worth $330,000, his Lamborghini Aventador worth $460,000, and his Lamborghini Aventador SVJ Roadster that's worth a staggering $500,000. What might be the most impressive thing about his life is who he managed to marry. Offset was able to snag the one and only Cardi B. While Migos is certainly a huge success, Cardi B is no slouch either. For her career, she's taken in over $40 million and is just getting started. Cardi has several high-profile cars of her own that join Offset's. That includes her Porsche Panamera 2017 that's worth $153,000, her Mercedes G-Wagon worth $250,000, and her McLaren 720S Spider worth $315,000. Her Lamborghini Aventador is the most impressive since evidently the couple got his and hers Lambos. That's a power couple right there. Unfortunately, Offset's the one who's got to do the driving since Cardi B can't drive. Together, the couple has snagged what can only be described as a lover's castle. The home is enormous. It has everything. There's a rec room, a wet bar, a giant pool, a wine cellar, and it is rumored to have its own firing range. This is one of the finest homes I've ever seen. It sits on over 5 acres of pristine land. Basically, if Warner Brothers ever needed to create an American equivalent to Hogwarts, their house would fit the bill. So how much does an enormous American castle like this cost? Well, if you were guessing like $10 million like I would, you'd be shocked to find out that they spent a fraction of that. They managed to pick this up for like $5.5 million. I don't know about you, but that seems like a deal. When it came time for Offset to pop the question, it's clear that Cardi B wouldn't just get a standard ring from Jared's or something. She would need a ring that's next level. The enormous pear-shaped ring featured diamonds so big that Cardi likely has back problems now because of it. So how much is a ring that's so huge that it likely has at least one moon orbiting it? Apparently, Offset had to throw like $500,000 on this one. That would be like a top-tier piece of jewelry for any other couple, but this is Offset and Cardi B. He topped pretty much every husband in the world by upgrading her ring with another one, designed by the same place that made the original, Pristine Jewelers. They nicknamed this ring the Titanic Diamond that Offset gave to Cardi on her 27th birthday. This ring is reportedly worth well over $1 million. Those two really need to stop making the rest of us look bad. Quavo, the last member of Migos to cover, also has a sizable piece of the pie for himself. He's taken in $26 million from their combined success. Even with $26 million in his pocket, he spends like he's got $100 billion. Now he's hedging his bets with some pretty epic investments. Just to show you just how over the top his spending gets, he has purchased the exotic animal that all wacky celebrities buy when they want to show the world they spend like crazy. Yes, Quavo has joined the likes of Mike Tyson and the Tiger King by purchasing his own giant tiger that he's named Cho. Tigers like this can cost their owners over $800,000 when accounting for all the things you gotta get to maintain an exotic pet. That can pretty much make you lunch anytime it wants. They require a great deal of space, eat 10 to 25 pounds a day, and have to have very expensive medical care. And it doesn't seem worth it to me. The most impressive thing Quavo has is his car collection. It's frankly pretty amazing. They are all the classiest cars that money can buy. For instance, he's got a Tesla Model X that runs for $150,000, a Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat for $110,000, a Jeep Rubicon Gladiator for $60,000, a Rolls-Royce Cullinan for $400,000, a McLaren 720S for $350,000, a Lamborghini Aventador S Roadster for $500,000, and a Mercedes Maybach GLS 600 for $200,000. Just in case you haven't been keeping count this whole time, this entire collection is worth around $1.7 million. Now that's impressive. Quavo stayed in an Alpharetta, Georgia home for several years and even recorded a great deal of music there. This castle-like estate is unbelievable with pools, a tennis court, and some of the greatest designs I've ever seen in a home. Recently, it's been on the market for around $1.9 million. The fact that Quavo stayed there is actually one of the primary selling points. Not only has Quavo stayed in fine homes, but he's become quite the real estate investor as well. Through Migos Touring Inc., he picked up several homes in Georgia. These all ranged from a few million, but he managed to talk the whole deal down to $2.58 million for 3 different properties that are now all in his portfolio. Something tells me that in 20 years, he won't be one of those rappers who lost all of his money for a ton of crazy purchases, even if he has bought himself a tiger. If you're building up a real estate empire, that is a huge parachute to have in case the albums ever just up and stop selling. Not only is he buying up real estate, but he's also got another business of the future on the line. He's teamed with Bitcoin Latinum to launch NFT cyber yachts. While he likes to charter yachts for himself, he's now using that image to sell NFTs in the metaverse. You'll be able to buy 888 extraordinary super yachts from his service. While this might seem like a ridiculous fad, a yacht NFT like this has sold for upwards of $650,000. So yeah, this guy is definitely going to be just fine, no matter what happens.
Jay-Z has 99 problems, but an empty wallet ain't one. At the time of producing this video, the hip-hop icon had a net worth of $1.4 billion. He can buy just about anything his heart desires, from fancy watches to expensive hypercars. Jay-Z and his wife Beyonce own a fabulous $88 million mansion in Los Angeles, as well as an idyllic retreat in the Hamptons. Becoming hip-hop's first billionaire wasn't an easy feat. Jay-Z earned his wealth through shrewd investments and wise business decisions. He once owned a significant stake in the Brooklyn Nets, and there are reports that he may soon buy an NFL team. Here's a look at how Jay-Z spends his billions. Jay-Z reached billionaire status back in 2019, but this year he saw his net worth rise 40% in a single day, thanks to a deal with LVMH. The luxury goods company bought a 50% stake in Jay-Z's champagne house, Armand de Brignac, aka Ace of Spades. The champagne brand was worth about $630 million at the time, which means Jay-Z pocketed at least $315 million. It's deals like this that have made Jay-Z uber wealthy. He has made at least $80 million per year over the last decade, and he and his wife Beyonce have a combined net worth of $1.8 billion. Jay-Z can buy whatever he wants. His real estate portfolio is worth more than $100 million, and his palatial pads are filled with luxurious amenities that make some five-star hotels look like dingy motels. His $2.6 million mansion in New Orleans is one of America's most unique homes. It was once a church, but Jay-Z and Beyoncé converted it into a spacious and elegant 13,000 square foot vacation home. The 7-bedroom, 8-bathroom property dates all the way back to 1925 and has a gorgeous living green roof filled with foliage. The home's master suite has a large bathroom with an antique bathtub, as well as a massive walk-in closet where Jay-Z stores his stylish threads. Even more impressive is the $26 million retreat that the couple owns in the Hamptons. Lovingly referred to as the Pond House, the 12,000 square foot home has 7 bedrooms, 7.5 bathrooms, and a 3-car garage. The picturesque abode overlooks Georgia Pond, which means the sunsets are absolutely breathtaking. The home's master suite has a private terrace, French stone fireplace, and his and hers dressing rooms. The historic 100-year-old home is packed with antiques, but it also has many modern amenities, including a screening room. The crown jewel in Jay-Z's real estate portfolio is undoubtedly his $88 million Bel Air estate. We wouldn't be surprised if it had its own zip code. It's that massive. The 30,000 square foot mansion was built using glass, steel, and the world's finest travertine marble. Every inch of the home was built exactly to Jay-Z and Beyoncé's specifications. The 8-bedroom, 11-bathroom, ultra-modern mansion has bulletproof windows, a rooftop infinity pool, a spa and cinema. Bulletproof windows might seem out of place, but it's better to be safe than sorry. You'll find a basketball court and 3 more pools on the 1.88-acre property. Jay-Z can put on his Kevin Durant jersey and shoot hoops anytime he wants. Jay-Z's car collection is eclectic and expensive. His entire collection is worth over $50 million, and he owns some pieces that are more precious than diamonds. His Maybach XLero is worth a staggering $8 million. It's a one-off concept car, so it's no surprise the price tag was so high. Jay-Z famously used the XLero in the music video for his hit song Lost One, which in our opinion makes the car even more valuable. It's an absolute beast as it pumps out 690 horsepower and can reach a top speed of 218 miles per hour. It's not the only extremely fast car in Jay-Z's garage. His $1.4 million Pagani Zonda F can go from 0 to 60 in just 3.4 seconds and can reach a top speed of 214 miles per hour. The 650 horsepower Zonda F is so rare that only 40 were ever produced. Billionaires really love Bugattis, and Jay-Z is no exception. He owns a $2 million Bugatti Veyron Grand Sport, but here's the thing. He didn't open his wallet to purchase this beauty. It was actually a birthday gift from Beyoncé. And what a gift it was, because the Veyron Grand Sport is one of the fastest cars in the world with a top speed of 250 miles per hour. What else would you expect from a hypercar with a 1,000 horsepower engine? Jay-Z has bought some nice gifts for Beyoncé over the years as well, including a stunning $1 million Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud. Cars don't get much more classy than the Silver Cloud. The classic auto, which was in production from 1955 to 1966, is quite rare. There are only 2,716 left in the wild. Needless to say, it's a white whale for many auto collectors. Speaking of vintage cars, Jay-Z owns a few of those himself. His $150,000 '57 Chevy Corvette C1 may not be the most expensive car in his garage, but it's stunning nonetheless. The beautiful convertible is the perfect car for cruising down the California coast. The 4.6-liter V8 pumps out just 283 horsepower. Not that impressive now, but back in the 50s, it was a powerhouse. The C1 isn't the only classic convertible in Jay-Z's collection. He was spotted in Italy with his peppy 1966 Alfa Romeo Spider. The classic car is worth about $115,000, and Jay-Z and Beyoncé enjoyed driving the compact car through the Italian countryside. You might be surprised to learn that Jay-Z is something of an art connoisseur. He and Beyoncé have an art collection that's worth at least $100 million. One of their rarest and most valuable pieces is Jean-Michel Basquiat's Mecca, which is worth about $4.5 million. How often do you see Jay-Z without an expensive timepiece on his wrist or a heavy gold chain around his neck? Practically never. His $200,000 custom-made gold chain might just be the most iconic piece of jewelry in the hip-hop world. The famous Cuban chain weighs a mind-boggling 11 pounds. It's flashy and garish, but hey, Jay-Z has earned the right to show off. When Jay-Z wants a more understated look, he opts for a luxurious watch like this $2.2 million Patek Philippe Grandmaster Chime 6300G. He was spotted wearing the rare timepiece at Diddy's 50th birthday party. The white gold watch sports a reversible case as well as 2 dials, one black and one white. $1 million party calls for $1 million watch. Jay-Z is so rich that he can afford to go on a lavish trip anytime he wants. When he flies, he does so surrounded by opulence. He and Beyonce own a private jet that's worth $40 million. Their Bombardier Challenger 850 Learjet comes in handy when Jay-Z has to attend important business meetings with overseas investors. Beyonce actually bought the plane as a Father's Day gift for Jay-Z in 2012, and it's certainly come in handy over the years. Jay-Z and Beyonce don't own a yacht of their own, but they have no problem spending millions to rent amazing super yachts. They recently vacationed in the Mediterranean aboard the 450-foot-long Flying Fox. They chartered the 67-foot-wide super yacht at a cost of $4 million per week. Frankly, this was a wise decision, as buying the yacht would cost $400 million. Jay-Z may be rich, but he's not that rich. If your net worth is less than $10 billion, a super yacht is out of the question. Jay-Z is financially savvy, but it's not uncommon for him to blow obscene amounts of money on gifts and parties. In 2018, he spent $110,000 in a single night to celebrate the birthday of his close friend and Roc Nation business partner, Juan O.G. Perez. Jay-Z shelled out the cash for an epic birthday celebration that consisted of 40 bottles of Ace of Spades champagne, lobster, steak, and sushi. The food cost a mere $13,000. It was the booze that made the bill skyrocket. Jay-Z and Beyonce wanted their daughter Blue Ivy to have a fabulous first birthday, so they spent $95,000 on pink roses and $2,400 on a birthday cake. The pair also spent $30,000 on costumes and toys. Jay-Z has been on a hot streak lately when it comes to investing. He owns a stake in companies like Uber, Oatly, and SpaceX. He's very forward-thinking when it comes to investing, and he's always looking for new trends. He recently invested $20 million to found JetSmarter, which is essentially the Uber of air travel. There are also rumblings that Jay-Z is on the lookout for an NFL team. There are reports he's shown interest in buying the Denver Broncos. Jay-Z is no stranger to buying sports teams. He used to be part owner of the Nets and was instrumental in moving the team from New Jersey to Brooklyn. He purchased a small stake in the Nets in 2004 for $1 million and then sold that stake in 2013 for $2.35 million. It was a tidy profit and a sign of things to come. Square recently purchased an $80,000 stake in Jay-Z's music streaming platform Tidal. The deal was reportedly worth $302 million. Jay-Z purchased the company in 2015 for just $56 million.
Drake has more style and more money than most people in the world. That means he can seriously flex a credit card with some pretty outrageous purchases. Drake has a truly amazing real estate portfolio, which isn't surprising considering the fact that he's worth $260 million. Drake recently added a new enormous home to his long list of already impressive homes. He picked up this Beverly Crest mansion from English singer-songwriter Robbie Williams. It's a sprawling estate with white walls, reddish-brown ceilings, and nothing but class and sophistication in between. The estate spans over 20,000 square feet, over 20 acres of land. It features 10 bedrooms and a staggering 22 bathrooms. Not only that, but it's in the legendary 90210 zip code. As far as amenities go, it has an 11-car garage, an elevator, a wine cellar, a gym, and a game room. Then there's the mosaic tile pool, the outdoor kitchen, the tennis court, and the orchard. Weirdly enough, this is all kind of tame for Drake. Knowing him, this house will have a strange name and strange rooms dedicated to his fame throughout. He's kinda known for that. That includes the infamous Drake Manor, which is essentially a $100 million temple to his own excellence. Then there's his slightly less infamous YOLO house in Hidden Hills, California, that he actually just parted with for roughly $14.8 million. Drake not only has an awesome car collection, but an exhaustingly awesome car collection. He has owned so many amazing cars over his life that it's low-key kind of a challenge to pick out the best ones. No good car collection is complete without at least one Lamborghini. If you're gonna Lambo it up, a Lamborghini Gallardo is a great place to start. It was a $155,000 ride for Drake, but funnily enough, that's not even on the higher end of his collection. That's basically Drake bargain shopping. For instance, there's his Rolls-Royce Phantom that costs around $400,000. For Drake though, this car was a sentimental addition to his garage. Evidently when he was younger, he used to scrape $5,000 together so that he could rent this car and pretend like he was rich and famous. No one has ever faked it till he made it quite like Drake. Perhaps my favorite of his cars is his Bugatti VEYRON Sang Noir. This car truly is beauty and the beast. On the one hand, it has one of the nicest looks Bugatti has ever designed. What's under the hood is even nicer though. This beast of a car can hit 250 miles per hour with no sweat. All of this together is why it costs roughly $1.9 million, though Drake got the best possible deal. That would be $0. Evidently, Birdman just handed him the keys to one of the rarest vehicles ever built. I mean, there are literally only about 15 of these on the road. If I ever got Drake levels of rich and famous, this is going to be one of my first buys. It's good to have a plan, you know, just in case. In 2021, when most of the world was stuck in lockdown, Drake was purchasing yachts nicer than most people's houses. In fact, when he shared interior images of the ship, people debated online whether he was showing off a new house or a new boat. It was eventually revealed that this gorgeous wooden interior was, in fact, his multi-million-dollar vessel that he's known for taking vacations to, beautiful places like Barbados. Then there's his yacht concept video for the yacht that he wants to build, which might just end up being the greatest yacht ever constructed by man. If you're thinking of a long white boat like a normal yacht, then you definitely don't think like Drake does. No, his yacht is a sleek, onyx-colored beauty that looks like it's from the future. Seriously, in the concept video he dropped, if the whole thing lifted off into the air and then flew into space, it would be 100% unsurprising. Very little is known about the concept aside from the name. He plans to call it the OVO yacht, which will be seen both scrawled upon its hull and on the flag waving overhead like a pirate ship as a helicopter lands right in front of it. Chances are this beautiful yacht of the future might end up being more expensive than one of his houses. Drake is well known for his extensive shoe collection that features many of the best Air Jordans money can buy. There's still one that he has in his possession that's ridiculously cool even by Drake standards. That would, of course, be his limited edition collaboration with Air Jordan, the solid gold Jordan 10 OVOs. When they first came out, his famous collaboration was worth around $226. Nowadays, you can sell this piece of shoe wear history for over $500. If you're gonna collaborate with your favorite shoe brand, might as well make it memorable. As if Drake's life wasn't great enough, he accidentally found himself with some of the most coveted basketball cards money can buy. Drake purchased 10 boxes of vintage cards, including Flawless Basketball, Fleer, and Topps Chrome cards. These boxes cost well over $40,000. Now you're probably thinking, that's a little crazy to spend on basketball cards, and you'd be right. Most of the time, these are horrible purchases. Just ask most people who've made them. 9 out of 10 times you're likely to get just regular cards and not get your investment back at all. Drake, though, actually ended up earning that money back and then some. He pulled a super rare 1986 Fleer Jordan rookie card worth somewhere between $50,000 and $700,000. The rest of his cards were valued at potentially over $1 million, which is wild. I don't know about you, but I really want to see what happens if Drake played the lottery. Like a great deal of the world, Drake loves betting big money on sports games. Unlike a great deal of the world, Drake seems pretty good at making that money back. For instance, he dropped $200,000 on the Warriors to snatch the Western Conference. This massive bet ended up becoming yet another win on the long road of wins for Drake. This time he made well over $1 million thanks to the Warriors. Will Drake's luck ever truly run out? I don't think so. Everyone has those little secret dreams they never tell anyone about. Personally, I want a giant mechanical Lazy Susan for my car like the Batmobile. Does that serve any purpose? Of course not, but I want it anyway. Now Drake is a person who has the fortune and the unique eccentricity needed to make one of his weird little dreams come true. Apparently, he always wanted to redesign the concept of the shower. He created what he refers to as an experience shower. This is a shower that is sort of like a private concert without the music. The shower is lit by a ton of LED lights. It also has 10 powerful jets overhead that spray more than just water. You can set them to also spray lavender or whatever scent you want. What's even crazier about this is that news of his shower light show spread and that it created a whole experience shower industry. Looks like you can live at least one of Drake's dreams, even if it is one of the weirder ones. You know, Drake probably stopped spending all this money. Chances are he'd be a proper billionaire by now.